Consistently attract soulmate clients. Begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalind Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize.
Hello, my loves. Welcome to this episode with my sexy silver fox, my husband, Dan Hague. He's a certified financial planner and a registered retirement specialist consultant. And I'm an Akashic visionary life and business soul coach. Welcome if you are new here. And together, Dan and I make up pleasure in the bedroom and bank. So we love it too. Yeah. And so we are here. My former background is I was a registered psychologist. I have a master's in marriage and family therapy. And we love to help you, whether you're in a relationship or if you are single, to have a very conscious and sacred and empowering relationship with money. And then to, in your committed relationship, to have a very conscious conscious ways to communicate with money. And how you do one part of your life is how you do all parts of your life. So watch that magically unfold. So in our episode here today, we really actually wanted to target those of you who are parents and parents at different stages, from expecting to be parents. You don't have children yet.
Probably the serious phase of your life when you don't have kids yet. You don't know what to expect.
Yeah, and actually this episode will be really critical for you to help you set up success for your children's financial future. And to those of you who have young children, to teens, to early 20s, and we really want to, I'm really going to be picking Dan's brain on his expertise today on things that as parents you really need to be aware of, because we don't learn these things in school. And we certainly, especially with our own stuff, how do we communicate how we want to go into relationship with money, and how do we want to make decisions, money decisions, to support our children for their future success. So, of course, this is going to help you with your financial future as well. So let me just ask you, where do we start? Like, what? Let's say let's start with the parents. Like, what's really, really important when it comes to setting yourself up for financial success, your children?
Yeah. So, what it comes down to is a lot of parents want to make sure that their own kids get the foundation of a proper financial education. Because when I went to high school and junior high and elementary, we weren't taught about credit cards and credit scores and debt and investing, that type of thing. I think they do a little bit more of it now, but it's definitely, not the same capacity as you have to deal with as an adult. So parents these days want to make sure that their kids are set on the right track. And that's where someone like a professional like me comes in and says, these are your options, because there's so much that you can understand on your own, but you don't really get the full breadth of the impact of everything out there. So that's what parents want. They want the best for their kids.
Okay, so where do we start?
Well, it was kind of interesting because I went back to my hometown of Edmonton and did a bit of a whirlwind trip through central Alberta as well too. And quite a few times there was parents in their 40s, 50s and beyond who were introducing their newly adult children to me. So 18 to 23-year-olds. And they were, laying the foundation, telling them about not only about the different types of investments and accounts, but really what is the benefit to them, right? Because here in Canada, a lot of people have heard of RRSPs, and they're good for retirement. But when an 18-year-old thinks about retirement, they say, I'm never going to be there, right? That's a lifetime.
Later on.
Yeah. So why should I worry about that now? But they don't realize they can use it as a down payment. They can use it as to fund their own education when they're an adult. And they get a huge tax rebate for contributions as well, too.
Are you going to be like slowing down on all of this? Can we go in a little bit deeper?
Well, I've got so much information in here, but yes.
We'll do the high level first,
and
then we can go a little bit deeper. And of course, Dan is certified as a financial planner across Canada. So if you are Canadian and you are wanting some support, check Dan out. He's with IG Wealth, and we can talk a little bit more about details on that later. So then let's go a little bit more. Is there more high level to consider? Can we scale it back to, I'm even thinking about one of our girlfriends that we were talking about who has young kids, like they are, I think, 2 and 4-ish. No, they're 16 months apart. So, so like 3 and 4. And she doesn't have anything laid down.
In essence, she kind of put her head in the sand. She worked every job. She had her kids and really didn't want to deal with the finances and didn't want to talk with the father of the kids either, her husband. It was kind of a topic that they kept separate, and that doesn't do anybody any good when you don't discuss the things that are important to a relationship.
Which is why we're passionate about this, right? Really, like, let's bring this conversation forward and inspire spouses to start having these conversations in a way that feels safe and sacred, and it's really important. It's really important. It's very vulnerable. It's gonna be hard if you have a lot of money stories and money beliefs that are holding you back from being able to take that next step and have be vulnerable with your spouse and share, like, let's dive in deeper with each other. So let's start like literally preschool conversation. We're going to start there.
Yeah. So going back to that conversation, it was interesting. Within the first 10 minutes, I was able to help open her eyes to some different possibilities for her own kids who, like are how old are they? 2 and 4?
They're 16 months apart.
They're very, very
3
young.
3 and 4, let's say.
And so it takes a 10-minute conversation to help guide you on the right path.
Okay, let's be specific though. Like, she really didn't even know that there were.
So everything from
what's available.
Yeah, educational plans, right? In Canada, you can get free money from the government, right?
Like, sink that in. If you did not know, because we don't learn these things. You can get free money from the government.
Who doesn't like free money, right? So,
can you explain that though? Like, literally spell it out.
So you put in up to $2,500 for every year your kid was alive. So if they were born on September 23rd, they get full room for that full calendar year. So you can put in $2,500 and you get matched by 20%. So $500 every year. So you can build up this money throughout the course of their life. And as long as all of it is used for educational purposes, you get all that 20% and all the growth on it, which could be, $10,000 of growth, right? Whatever, it depends on what you invested in.
You guys, did you hear that? So that's like money that you do not have to work harder. It works for you. Okay? It grows for you without you working harder.
And going back to the conversation with the adult kids too, the biggest thing is getting the mindset in place and the regular investing into something. So set it and forget it, right? Even if you start with $50 a month, that's better than $0 a month, right? And it gets you headed on the right path. I'm going to skip forward to one of the adult children here, about 18 years of age. He just started working a new job, making pretty good money, 6 figures for an 18-year-old.
Wow.
And first of all, he didn't even know about income taxes. So if we told him, you're going to lose $25,000 to taxes. And he's like, why? I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay taxes. I mean, welcome to adulting, right? And then.
Okay, I'm still like, he makes 6 figures as an 18-year-old?
He, traits. Wow. If you're in a pretty.
Okay.
skilled trades area, you can make good money right off the get-go, right? For sure. So he wants to buy his truck, and he's got $25,000 that he wants to spend on the most amazing truck ever, because that's what you do when you're an 18-year-old guy,
That's
right?
making six figures, you betcha.
And then his parents were trying to convince me to convince him not to blow the money on a truck. So on the spur of the moment, so for all of you out there, have you heard of the rule of 72? So that's a concept that Einstein figured out. You take the number 72 divided by your expected rate of return on your investments, and that equals the number of years it takes your money to double. So let's play it out here. So 72, let's say you got a 10% rate of return. 72 divided by 10 equals 7.2. So that means every 7.2 years, your money should double. So going back to this situation, if this 18-year-old's got $25,000 saved up for a truck, well, every 7 years, it could double. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. So in 35 years, actually, let's go 42 years, because then the 18-year-old will be 60 years of age. So we got 6 doubling periods.
Wow.
So it's $25,000 turned into 50, turned into 100, turned into 200, turned into 400, turned into 800, turned into 1.6 mil.
I'm glad you didn't ask me to do that.
So that's a $1.6 million truck, in a way, right? And then when he thought about it that way, he was like, holy smokes. And we're not saying he can't ever buy his truck. We're just saying, don't blow this fantastic
delayed gratification,
yes.
Buddy. Right? Like we teach our children delayed gratification, right? Like let's really think about this. If you really still want it, then save up for it, or like then you can decide to have that. I think it's like a really beautiful practice instead of impulse buying, for example, or just impulse eating, impulse whatever that is, just to stop and pause and consider all the options.
Exactly. And his parents were like, yes, that is what I needed to tell my kids. And it's kind of funny. Sometimes when your kids listen to their parents, they ignore them or they dismiss them, right? But when they hear it from a third party, sometimes it has more impact.
Well,
right?
I remember being, when I used to be a psychologist and I would work with teens, I knew I was saying exactly what the parents were trying to get their teens to hear and see. I knew that, but I also knew that the teens couldn't hear their parents. So it's like they're paying me to say the same thing. and to see it, differently, because they don't have, it's a different filter when sometimes you have the expert share it. Yeah, you don't have all that noise.
Yeah.
So that's pretty powerful.
It was powerful. And, his parents, they said it was a perfect thing. So, hopefully their 18-year-old son's going to make some good decisions. I mean, if he wants to buy the truck, it's his money. Just know that it comes at a big cost to his future.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Delayed gratification, I think, is a beautiful concept.
Exactly. And, also threw it in there that, I think girls and other people like guys with more money, right? So throwing that concept out there, he's like, oh yeah, maybe I should save a little bit of this money too. So just, a little bit of an incentive.
Where were all the Dans when we were 18, right?
Yeah.
Well, you came into my life when I was 21. So.
Yeah, close enough. Yeah.
He wasn't a financial planner yet, though.
No.
Actually, we should share, like we've shared this on our previous podcast episodes. If you're just tuning into us now for the first time, you can tune into my podcast episodes where it's labeled Pleasure in the Bedroom and Bank. And you'll hear about the different kinds of conversations. Some of them are a lot more personal and of our own money stories and of our own relationship. And some of them are like, I think today is the most technical, tactical so far, but I'm sure you'll hear about our stories today too.
Yeah. And one of the beauties that Roz and I create together, we bring both the logic and the intuition, right?
Yeah.
So and I think everyone's got a combination of the two, and every relationship has a combination of the two as well too. So that's where, having conscious conversations about that can help marry those two concepts together.
Yeah, absolutely. We love talking about money. I'm wearing my money magnet shirt today. And, it really is about the energy of money, the psychology of money, the financial planning side of money. And when it comes to the psychology, it's really like looking at if things like we just took away our beliefs around money, like our emotions around money, meaning are related to our limiting beliefs. It's just concepts. Money is neutral. It's neutral. It's a tool, right? But because so many of us, and most of us, I'm going to say, grew up with likely watching our parents have fights over money or never talking about it, or like
Extremes,
having disagreements. You've probably seen people have breakups over it. People talk down about other people around money. Like money is just it can create nastiness that way, right? I mean, when somebody passes away and there's a will, which we're actually going to talk about too, is life insurance. Like the division that happens amongst families, so sad.
It brings out
it's
the
so
best
sad.
in people. It brings out the worst in people. That concept of money, right?
Yeah. So, this is why we're so passionate to inspire you to really reflect on your relationship with money. And like I said, in our previous episodes, we do have questions. We have stories that we share that will inspire you to have the ideas of what to reflect on. We also do have a Manifest More Money course as well. We can tell you a little bit more about that later. It will also be in the show notes. But it's deeply important because money is a constant in our lives. It has to be. It's the world we live in. And you might as well, just like the constant you have is your relationship with you. You might as well have the most loving, epic relationship with yourself. You might as well have the most loving, epic relationship with money.
Ignorance is not bliss.
No.
When it comes to money.
Or with yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when you love yourself so deeply, you magnetize your soulmate, right? Your soulmate clients, your soulmate for your love life. You magnetize your dream life. It starts from the inner world, and then you create and magnetize a powerful outer world. So I want to talk about life insurance. Is this a good time or
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
It's always a good time to talk about life insurance, and insurance in general. People say, "I hate insurance."
Well, we kind of right.
Yeah,
it's not that exciting.
Boring, and it's a waste of money. Well, if any of you have ever been in a car accident or had your house burned down or expensive items stolen, then you know that insurance is not a waste of money. Or for me, myself, I've had my own. My sister passed away well before her age, well before her time, at the age of 40. And she unfortunately did not have life insurance. And I'm very passionate about talking to people about life insurance because it has impacted my family so deeply. So there are two main types of life insurance. One of them is to cover people that you love and people that you owe. So it's to make sure that your family is protected financially in case you were to pass away prematurely. And it's also to cover your debts, right? So you can rent insurance. It's called term insurance. It's actually pretty darn cheap. In relation to the value that it provides. So depending on your situation, for the normal health class, a female for about $250,000 of coverage could pay as little as $20 a month, right?
Oh, wow.
And for the peace of mind that it provides, should the unfortunate happen, $20 a month is nothing, right? Really nothing.
Yeah, we can tell you about a personal situation that we have personal friends. Gosh, it's been how many years now?
5 years.
That's what I was going to say. And our same age as us, 5 years ago. So
he was 39. He was 39 at that time when he passed away. Wife, 2 kids.
Same age as our kids.
And healthiest guy you could ever imagine. Not an ounce of fat on him.
Runner.
Huge runner. Not triathlon, but 50K, 100K trail runs.
Ultra marathoner.
He was the epitome of health.
Mm-hmm.
And
Unexpectedly got
unfortunate,
sick.
got sick due to pneumonia. It was a horrible situation. And he didn't have a lot of life insurance in place, or not much at all, to be honest with you. And his family paid the price as well, too. So, it always happens to other people, right? That's another thing that people say as to a reason why they're not going to look at life insurance. But once again, it's not a financial burden. And if it gives you peace of mind, then that's the whole point of it.
Yes. Yeah.
So I also refer to, there's renting insurance, and then there's owning insurance as well, too. So there's a different type of life insurance for a different purpose. If you love your kids more than you like this CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, or IRS in the United States, then you would probably want to own life insurance to make sure that your kids get more from your estate than CRA does. Right?
Okay, just take a moment to sink that in, my loves. Like, just literally take a moment to sink that in.
Because when you die, there's going to be taxes, right? Depending on your situation, and a financial advisor can tell you exactly how much in taxes there'll be when you pass away, but there are going to be taxes. So if you want more to go to your kids than to the government, get some permanent life insurance. You'll pay pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
I'll give an example of a situation. There's one of my clients, he's about 60-ish. He wants the most money that he can give to his kids. He's got 4 kids. By putting in $300,000 of premiums over the course of his life, the life insurance will guaranteed pay out $1 million.
Wow.
So he tripled the money going to his kids.
That feels like a no-brainer.
Like, why wouldn't you? Right?
And the thing is, this is why I'm going to keep saying this, so passionate about putting this information out there, because people don't know about this. We don't learn it in school.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like the only way is if you have a financial planner, or if you get a financial planning textbook. I don't know. Like, how
you can learn it on your own, and the internet's a wonderful place. The internet's also an awful place, because you can get misinformation, or you can get misguided. The right strategies at the wrong time can also be a bad thing, right? So, in his situation, it makes sense. And why someone wouldn't want to triple or quadruple their money going to their kids. Why not, right? There's a concept that I talk about with my clients called the intergenerational transfer of wealth. So there's going to be the most amount of money passed down from our parents and grandparents to our generation, and then from us to other generations. Well, if you don't want money leaking out in the form of taxes, insurance is the most effective way of doing that. So have that conversation with your significant other, have it with your financial planner, and make sure you look at all the options to get the most bang for your buck. That's what it comes down to.
Okay. Wow. What's another common question that comes up often? Again, for somebody who just doesn't know very much, and they're just seeing you for the first time.
Yeah. So let's say there's someone getting closer to retirement, right? Retirement's a big one. And whether you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, right? We all got to reach retirement at some point here. So a lot of it comes down to one of the big questions is Canada Pension Plan, right? People, once again, may not be the most exciting topic, but Canada Pension Plan, if you take it early at age 60, you get less for the rest of your life. You get 36% less. If you take it at the normal age, you get the normal amount. But if you take it at age 70, you get 42% more. That's a huge difference between those numbers. So it used to be very black and white, that you always take it as early as possible because you get the most value out of it over the course of your life. But we're all living longer, right? We're all living into our 80s, 90s, or even beyond these days for the most part, right? So now it's not quite so black and white. So it depends is how I answer the question, when should I take CPP, Canada Pension Plan? And it can make a pretty significant difference in your retirement. And there's 3 factors that I look at. 1, do you have normal or better life expectancy, right? 2, do you have the investments to pay for your retirement if you're deferring your CPP in your 60s? And 3, are you going to get normal or better investment returns? So if the answer to all those 3 is yes, then you should almost always defer your CPP. if you want to get the most bang for your buck.
How do you determine the answers to these 3 questions?
And, we never know when we're going to pass away. Someone as fit as a fiddle could die the day after they retire. It happens, right? But we just make projections. We make our best plans based on the circumstances that we have, right?
Right, because you actually have tools that help with create these projections.
Exactly. Yeah. And once again, there's a lot of tools online too. A lot of them don't look at the entire picture. Right.
So not holistic.
It's not holistic,
okay.
Right? They look at one aspect of your retirement, like maybe just your investments or maybe just your CPP, whatever the case is. So as a certified financial planner and a registered retirement consultant, I take a look at the whole perspective and I can give you guidance and let you decide on which is the best course of action for your situation. Because I can only provide you the guidance. If you want to take a certain course of action, it's your money, right? It may be wrong in terms of its effectiveness. In high school, I used to be called Efficient Dan because I was very efficient with everything I did. Well, I parlayed that into a pretty effective career choice here. So I think I did okay with that.
And then did they call you Dan the Money Man?
Dan the Money Man. Yeah. Some of my other
clients. Why were you a treasurer?
No, those were clients after I became a financial advisor. But yeah, I was treasurer for my high school student council. Imagine that. Surprise, surprise. And then yes, I've been called Dan the Money Man. So.
That's so good. That's so good. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break because these are a lot of concepts. So during commercial, we're going to invite you to really just like let yourself absorb some of what was shared. We hope that Dan sharing some of these real life client stories and even of our friends will inspire you to really take that next step to reflect on your relationship with money and where it's at right now. I know it can be a little uncomfortable. That is a good thing because you will have a breakthrough as you keep going.
Don't avoid the conversation.
Do not. All right, my loves, we'll be back.
OMTimes TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. OMTimes Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, OMTimes offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an OMTimes magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on OMTimes TV and broadcasting it across the extensive OMTimes radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. OMTimes. Open yourself to the possibilities.
Are you feeling maxed out working one-on-one with clients and you're deeply desiring to scale your business for more time freedom without sacrificing your income, but rather expanding it? Many of my clients who are light workers, healers, practitioners, and even coaches, they're often multi-modality, are coming to me because they are sick and tired of working with clients on a one-off session model where the clients are coming in on an as-need basis. Or if they're selling packages, they are selling them in the sense of buy 5, get 1 free, or the greater the number of sessions, the greater the discount. The problem with this is it's still a dollar for hours business model. And so that leaves the practitioner feeling really exhausted and overwhelmed from having to put so much time, effort, and energy in finding new clients that they're not operating in their most elevated self with their current clients. And so if this is you, I would love to share with you that it's time to elevate your business and scale it to sell high ticket one-on-one programs, or even group programs. This will allow you to have more deeper impacts because you're raising your clients' results, you're scaling your business, and you're having that time freedom you deeply are yearning for. If this is resonating with you, love, I'd love to invite you to come on a soul business alignment call with me so that you can stop feeling like you're on this roller coaster ride and start to feel safe and stable and even having fun in your business and your finances. Please go to electrifymybusiness.com to apply and we'll hop on a call. I can't wait to connect.
If I could be you and you could be me for just 1 hour, if we could find a way to get inside each other's minds, walk a mile in my shoes, walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
All right, welcome back, love. So I'm going to get Dan to summarize what we just talked about in the first half of the show. To be honest, on commercial break, I was like, dude, I'm so glad that you're talking about these concepts. My head is hurting a little bit. But I have to be also very honest. I did not know money in the way I do now before Dan became a financial planner. And it's like, honestly, if he wasn't a financial planner, I'd definitely be getting one. And if I was single, I'd be like, who are you? Can you be mine? Okay, my love. So can you summarize?
Yeah. So the top 3 things that I spoke about was the rule of 72. So basically, that's the concept of compounding. The longer you can have your money working for you, the more times it doubles. So the higher the return, the more times it doubles. So that my buddy's $25,000 truck is really a $1.6 million truck by the time he reaches age 60.
Sweet.
I also spoke about life insurance and how it's a topic that people avoid like the plague, but it's very impactful. So important for you and your family to give you that peace of mind in case of worst case scenario. And I think we all know people who have passed away prematurely, and whether they had life insurance or not, you don't want to be worried about money when your loved one has passed away.
Yeah,
right?
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth it to have life insurance. Just
Correct.
for the peace of mind. You never know.
And it doesn't cost very much.
Yeah.
It's not that expensive. And then the third concept, really, I spoke about CPP, Canada Pension Plan, but really what that comes down to is getting the most out of your retirement income. I always tell my clients that the number one enemy in retirement is paying too much income tax, right? Because depending on how you structure your different sources of income, you may be paying way too much tax. So managing CPP, managing your other investments, allocating it properly is making sure you minimize your income tax that you pay. Because once again, why would you want to pay more tax if you don't need to? So those are the 3 main things that I spoke about.
So then let's move into what are some of the top 3 when you sit down with your clients. You usually do. It's kind of like it is like coaching, right? It's like, where are you guys at right now? What's your big vision dreams?
Exactly.
What's that lifestyle you really want? And let's help you get there, right? So what are the top 3 priorities that your clients often share?
So that's really great. I want to understand my clients' goals. And, retirement is one of them. But in terms of priorities that are different than retirement, a big one for especially people with young families is how do we pay off this mortgage faster? Right? Because as we all know, houses are not cheap. When my mom and dad bought a house for $30,000 back in the 1970s, you can't buy anything for $30,000.
Oh my gosh, that was like how much my first business
coach
was.
Goodness, yeah, exactly.
Now that's like a car.
And now, and Roz and I are here in Kelowna, and a decent house is $1.5 million, right? It's a little different these days. So if you're taking on a big mortgage, how do you pay it off sooner? And if you follow interest rates, then interest rates are very low right now. historic lows. Yes, they're going to start to jump up pretty soon, but as of right now, they're pretty low. So if you have extra money and you put it against your mortgage, you're only saving that 1.5, 2% interest that you're paying on your mortgage. So once again, it's not an effective use of your money. So there's my efficient Dan brain coming in here, right? You want to make the best use of your money. So what else could you do with that money instead of putting it on your mortgage? Well, instead, you should put it into the tax-free savings account. And for those of you who don't know, the TFSA is effectively the opposite of an RRSP. When you put money into a TFSA, you don't get a tax rebate, but when you pull money out, no taxes. What a lot of people do is they use it in the wrong way. They use a savings account type of investment in the TFSA, whereas you can use higher growth investments in there. And if it all grows tax-free, then it's to your benefit. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you got a mortgage and it's $250,000, and if you put an extra, $500 a month into it, maybe you'll get it down to 16 years instead of 25 years. Well, if instead you took that $500 a month and you put it into a TFSA, and let's say it grew at 6%, you'll have that mortgage paid off in 14 years instead of 16.
Wow.
So it's just a different way.
Smarter,
exactly.
rather than you working harder.
Just a different way to allocate your money, right? So that's the tangible benefit. The intangible benefit, money in your TFSA is always accessible. So if you have an emergency or an opportunity or want to go on a vacation, you can always pull money out of your TFSA. We're itching for a vacation here. It's been a long time since we've been on one, so that's on my brain here. So just using your money more effectively and killing off your debt with a TFSA is vital. Also, referring back to something I mentioned earlier but didn't get into, is you can use your RRSP. Normally when you pull the money out, it's all taxable, but there's only two exceptions to that rule. One is using it for the first-time home buyers plan. So if you're a first-time homeowner or if you haven't owned a house in 5 years, you can pull out up to $35,000 out of your RSP without tax consequences to use as a down payment on your home. So if you're on the younger side and you never had a house and that's a priority for you, and if you have a decent amount of taxable income, throwing money into your RRSP is a great place to build up a down payment. Now, if you're just starting to work, like my 18-year-old buddy over there, and he hasn't paid a full year of taxes, RSPs don't quite make sense yet because he hasn't paid a lot of tax yet. But for this year coming up, where he will have a full year of taxable income, then it makes more sense to put money into an RSP for first-time home buyers plan. The other exception to the rule is called the Lifelong Learning Plan, LLP. And that allows you to take out up to $20,000 out of your RSP without tax consequences for your adult education. So if you as an adult, or for your spouse too, so if you as an adult want to pursue additional courses, as long as it's an accredited university and you're quote unquote full-time, you can take out $10,000 a year for up to $20,000, and you can use that to pay your tuition, books, living expenses, whatever the case is. So once again, there's another exception to the RRSP rule that normally is taxable, but in these two exceptions, it's not.
This is some really powerful information. I mean, every time you share it, we talked about this stuff. I hear you talk about it with your clients, and I'm just like hearing it again, and I'm just like, wow, like that's like life-changing. These are life-changing concepts if people apply them.
Yeah, big time. And I guess that parlays into the third point is, people ask me, well, how are you different than the bank, right? So I'm a CFP, a certified financial planner, and also an RRC, a registered retirement consultant. So I take additional courses, continuing education. I think we're all love taking our continuing education courses to make sure that we're on top of any tax changes, whatever the case is. And I've had clients for my entire career. So my almost 15 years at IG, I've had clients the entire time. And I've maintained a very good personal relationship with them. And for all of you entrepreneurs out there, you probably know it's easier to convert clients into friends than friends into clients, right? So I've got some pretty decent friendships that I've made out of client relationships, right? So I guess that's where I'm a bit different than the bank, because quite often when you work with someone at the bank, they get shifted to a different branch every 3 years, or they're trying to I'm not trying to disparage the banks, but they try to sell you credit cards, and they try to get, they try to upsell you on all these products that you may or may not need.
Mhm.
And so there's that aspect, but I think the personal relationship is something that's really lacking at the bank. It's more of a transactional type
It does
of
feel
relationship.
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I differ.
And we're not saying everybody is like that works at the bank, but you also have more flexibility in how you can help your clients.
Yeah, so the banks are actually limited in what they can offer you. They cannot talk about life insurance, right? In the same way that I can. They can offer a very limited scope of life insurance when you get your mortgage, whereas I can offer the entire scope. So if they're not even licensed or able to offer that to you, do you think that they're going to recommend it in your best interest? No, they can't. And they won't even make you aware of it. So as more of an independent financial advisor, I've got a lot more flexibility to make sure that the solutions I provide you are always in your best interest.
Yeah, absolutely. And, even speaking to, you work specifically with IG Wealth, that's where Dan's business is. You started out in insurance.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying, and you guys, if you were listening to our previous episodes, you would have heard this. Insurance was like boring AF for you. You're just like not feeling fulfilled. Like you don't feel like you're really helping anybody make a huge difference. And at that point, I think you were searching for different.
It wasn't filling my
industries.
bucket. And by insurance, it was commercial insurance. So helping businesses get their auto policies in place and liability and building coverage. And it just lacked the personal connection for sure. So I was in that industry for about 2.5 years. Then I transitioned over to personal financial planning. And when I could meet with a family and help them save thousands of dollars on their debts and help get their kids through school and pay less in taxes, right? And get the proper insurance in place, right? That was a personal, like intrinsic value that it provided me.
Yeah.
So I think that that's what continues to fire me up personally is that intrinsic passion that it brings out in me.
I'm just like love heart eyes on my husband right now. I'm like,
and it goes out when I see Ross speaking at public events, I'm like, I never get to see you that way. This is awesome. Like this is like hot, right?
I know, it's
so
sexy.
it's yeah. Go watch your spouse speak publicly, and you'll see them in a different light for sure. Yeah.
I remember actually reading about that in a book, and of course, the book is slipping my mind. Esther Perez, and she talks about in her book of how like couples can, keep that passion and that desire and that fire in their
the novelty, right?
in their committed relationship. And part of it was seeing your spouse in the light of how others might see them. And one of them was like the example of public speaking or speaking when they're in their professional setting, because you do see a different side. So yes, so true.
there may have been one or more times when Ross wanted me to come home and act as a financial planner throughout the rest of the evening, if you know what I mean. So
I am his top client, you guys.
The number one client right here. Yeah.
Actually, we could talk a little bit about that. So what does it look like, in our relationship, given that I'm his client and I have my own business, and we talked about how to have money dates. By the way, if you want to dive in deeper about that and have us walk through how to have a money date, what exactly that is, we have our Manifest More Money course. I'll drop the link for it so you can grab it at 50% off when you grab the Sacred Visioning form, journaling prompt, and in there comes a coupon for 50% off. So it's like $44 US. It's a workshop that Dan and I ran in 2020. There's 6 pillars of financial planning. Dan gives you a form to like fill out so that you can really, what is that called? Track
track your
Yeah.
spending, but also, find out where your priorities are.
Yeah. And then as a couple, you can discuss it, but you'll also see us in action. And it's not these boring ass concepts, it's
Hey,
bringing
concepts
them
are not boring.
into,
Yeah.
maybe not for you. Like, I'm just like glazed over sometimes, but I feel like, you hearing the stories, you seeing us in action, but we also talk about the psychology of it and how to actually set up a money date so that it feels fun, it feels sexy, it feels safe to talk about money. And I think that's really important. We also have one of my former clients, and now actually I hired her. She's Janet Key, who is the Sacred Money Archetype Prosperous Woman Coach. And she helps me look at, from my money archetype, and that's how what she'll help you do, is to look at your money personality and how to use it and leverage your strengths from that, and how to shift away from the parts that might be self-sabotage. So
flip the script, right?
So what it looks like is Dan and I sit down monthly, at least monthly, and we talk about money, but we talk about money almost every day anyway. But like more formally, we'll look at our credit card statements. We'll just make sure, match what goes where. By the way, we tell you about my big money mistake in one of our previous episodes of not looking at my credit card. Boy, was that a very, very thousands of dollars very expensive mistake, we'll say, or learning lesson. Okay.
And just recently, I had my credit card information stolen. So always want to review your credit card. I got refunded on the purchases that weren't mine.
Oh my God, how much was it? It was
$750 for one and $1,500 for another. So $2,250. That would have been rough.
Yeah. So always look at your credit card statements. Don't just toss them aside. Make sure the charges you have on that statement are yours.
Ignorance is not bliss. I'll say it again, right?
That's your take-home message today, my loves.
Financial ignorance is not bliss.
Yeah. No, it's not. So then we talk about, like how much money is incoming, what's outgoing. So I have my own separate business. It is incorporated. So I have my bank accounts in there. I have sub-accounts. One of them's called Taxgasms, just for fun. Yeah. Makes it paying tax a little bit more fun, I guess. I have ones where I save up for personal development, professional development, and travel for when I travel for business, which is happening.
Pretty soon, yeah.
Well, it's as we're recording this, I'll be flying to Toronto, so we're pre-recording this right now, and so, and then we look at what can I allocate over, because we have joint accounts, right? And so we pay off what we need to pay off, and we set things on auto pay to pay off our credit cards from just transfers from our bank account. But we still look. We don't just pretend, we're not ignorant.
I want to talk about one more concept before we wrap things up here. So going back to an earlier discussion, and this has come up a few times recently, going back to an earlier discussion, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And specifically, I've spoken with a few clients who have children with mental or physical disabilities. And in some situations, they didn't know that they could get called the DTC, Disability Tax Credit, basically free money from the government because they have a dependent who's disabled. And if you qualify for the Disability Tax Credit, you can get an RDSP, a Registered Disability Savings Plan, basically a long-term plan for investing money, which provides additional free money for the disabled individual, whether they're an adult or a teenager or a child or dependent. So there is thousands of dollars in free government money available there, which, depending on your situation, a financial advisor or a keen accountant should be able to help achieve that for you, help get that for you. So that's where people, I think, really need to focus in on and just be open about their situation, consult with a professional whose full-time job it is to provide financial advice, a CFP or a CFA accountant, and make sure you're getting the most that you can. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Why do you think some people just think they can do it? Like, some people do it on their own. They don't,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to have a financial planner, but like, you have a really great analogy.
Which
about
was that?
Well, like the dentist one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So people, you can do your own investing. You could also do your own dental work too. You can pull out your own teeth. Is it a good idea too? Probably not.
Would you save money? Maybe.
Yeah, you'd save money. You save a lot of money, right? Dentists aren't cheap. But what it comes down to is doing your own investing is fun. It's exciting, but you can also replicate the same mistakes that individual investors have done a long time. And investing is only one part of the financial planning process. The strategies are going to provide you with more impact than the investments themselves, right? I haven't spoken today about investments nearly as much as I spoke about the strategies to implement. So that's what's different.
Absolutely. I think the strategies are really important and they are really valuable. Wouldn't you guys agree? So if somebody who lives in Canada, because Dan's certified across Canada, is interested in sitting down with you, of course, on Zoom is a possibility. How can they get a hold of you?
Well, for sure. Send me a message. You can either give me a call. I can throw my phone number out on here.
Yeah. If you
780-920-2863. That's the first time I put that into a jingle before.
I love it.
Pretty bad jingle. Or send me a good old email, dan.hague, HAGUE, @ig.ca. Not Instagram, but investors group, IG Wealth. Yeah. So dan.hague @ig.ca.
Okay, beautiful. And that'll be in the show notes as well. I think Dan will drop the calendar link as well. Yeah. It is free to see Dan. It's free. You don't have to pay a coaching fee or a consulting fee. It's free to see him and get an assessment, an overall look at your financial picture and what's possible for you in your financial future. And I don't think a lot of people know that either. No, actually.
People think they have got to pay me $1,000 or whatever the case is just to even have a conversation, or there's an hourly fee. That's not true. I'm paid by IG and the companies I represent.
Yes. So. Yeah. Exactly. So do you want to spell that out a little bit more? Because I'm sure some people are like, how does that work?
Yeah. So basically, the first conversation we have is for me to get a good understanding of your situation and for you to let me know what your goals are. And sometimes it's helping you identify your own goals too, because maybe you don't know until you have this conversation with me and with your significant other if you have one. And then the second meeting that we have is I show you the actual strategies. Yeah. Right. And how it applies to your situation. Yeah. If you want to take it forward here and implement the strategies, I can certainly do that. And then I can help you prosper.
And if you already have, some of the other things I hear as well is, oh, I have a financial planner, but my financial planner hasn't even called me in over a year. I think that's a freaking problem. Yeah. Okay, that's their job to stay in connection with you and follow up and check in with you. It's really important that this is why, like, you're so passionate about doing the work you do, because you want to have that solid relationship with your clients.
It's more than just a business transaction.
It is.
And especially right now, as we're filming this, things in Ukraine are a little crazy, and people want, and yes, we hope the best for the people in Ukraine and Russia as well too, as they navigate through the situation. But it's also causing turbulence for people's financial futures all around the world, right? So it's part of my job as their advisor to help guide them to make the best decisions for their situation, whether it's good times or bad times or anywhere in between.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's so important. And you guys hear me say that you are not meant to do things alone. Success doesn't get created by doing things on your own. Build your team, absolutely build your financial team. I will emphasize on that. So I have a financial planner, I have an accountant, I have a bookkeeper. They are different people, okay? And I also have a chief of financial officer on my team, and she helps me track my incoming, and she puts that into my it's a spreadsheet, but guess what? I don't like to just have boring spreadsheets. So it's called an abundant money flow form. That's how I track my money.
I like spreadsheets.
Yes, I know you do. So I got to find some way to make it even more fun. And I encourage you to do the same. So today I'm not going to do a meditation today. I just really wanted this to be a full-on conversation. If you guys want to dive in deeper with Dan and I, grab that money course. I'm going to drop the link. It's a really good one. It's very powerful. A lot of couples have taken it, and single people. So, you can't go wrong at $44.
That's nothing.
Yeah. And learn all these concepts. If you want to sit down with Dan, if you're here in Canada, go ahead and do that. If you already have a financial planner, reconnect with them. And if you're finding like there's probably more, get a second opinion.
It doesn't hurt.
All right, my loves. So we wish you all the best. We would love to hear. Give us a shout out. Bold Sexy Warrior on Instagram. Rosalind Fund Coaching. Bold Sexy Warrior. Tell us your takeaways. We can't wait to hear you.
Thank you.